Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Berserk. We're redoing this episode, and Stan isn't joining us because he just doesn't want to.
He had to cry.
皆さん、これを指に結んでください。念話をできるようにします。通常をはるかに超えた意思の疎通が可能になります。皆さんは私の指示に従っていただきたいのです。
So most of this episode is essentially going to be the only time where when you're not assaulted by everything from every single side.
It's like a little prompt comes up and it says, "Have fun, enjoy the town,
Do some shopping.
do some shopping."
Yeah, too bad you can't do any
これは
shopping.
神がこの村にお与えになった試練です。祈り、耐えるしかないのです。
But yeah, thankfully they're nice enough to put everyone on the map.
他の連中は
But they're not nice enough to actually put them in such a way that you can just not waste time.
Yeah.
私は今のうつよの人間は皆間違っていると思います。自分たちが忘却しようとしている者たちにこそ自分たちを救う鍵が隠されているかもしれないのに。
その中にお前たち魔女も含まれるってわけだ。
私のお師匠様は昔この近隣の人里で暮らしていました。ですが人々はお師匠様を排斥し、あの森へと追いやったのです。私許せません。お師匠様の言いつけでなかったら誰がこんな村。
だったらやめりゃいい。言われたから嫌でもやるってのはガキの使いってんだぜ。
なんて礼儀知らずで不真面目な人なの。こんな人が私の運命であるはずがない。絶対。それよりセルピコさんや石ドロさんたちの方はどうなっているんですか。
I must say, I'm really impressed with how detailed the models are, even though you
Yeah.
see them so rarely up close.
Yeah, I like Guts's cloak. Makes him look like Batman to me.
辺りは
Yeah, a little
昔から
bit,
妖精や魔女の伝説が多い土地でしたが、
but
物語に過ぎませんでした。
you can actually look at the models up close if you really want to. From the options in the menu, like you go into the encyclopedia and you can view every single model of every character really up close. And it's really impressive because like it makes me believe that the models they use for the FMVs really are just the slightly slightly very much upscaled models that they use in the game.
Oh dang.
I mean, like they use, they put them in really high resolution and then recorded the FMVs. But yeah, as you see here, there's really no way to go around the entire city and not waste time. You basically have to go to the far right end and then to the far left end, and there is no way to like go around. You see there is a way around, but it's not available for now, simply because we're gonna be doing the next level here, and part of it is just blocked off for now.
Right. That makes sense.
Yes, but but they could have at the very least like made the city, kind of sort of circular, so I can just go in a circle to talk to everyone, as opposed to have to go to very far end and to the other very far end, or at the very least start you at one of the far ends and not in the center.
Right, that would have made things a lot easier.
As it is, it's just kind of busy work.
Yeah.
But and you also have to keep track of to which ones you have already talked, because the map isn't going to do that for you.
Yeah.
ただ一人生き残ったモーガンは自責の念に駆られ子供に紛争させて霊樹の森の魔女だと偽ってると司祭様がおっしゃってたよ。
But at the same time, it's also very nice how they actually show you the entire village and the scope of what could essentially be a village that that has like more than 10 people living in it.
Right.
Like we will see in one of the cutscenes from now on, that this whole city has like I believe more than 50 people living in it, which, you know, considering it's it's actually quite a lot.
Yeah.
And we actually see like enough houses and facilities that you can actually believe that there are this many people living there. Not like say it is in Pokemon, where every city has 2 houses and like 8 people living there.
Yeah. This is where I left off in the manga, or sometime after this, and yeah, there are a lot of people around here. At least that's the impression I got.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they were going for.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed that was different is when Shulk or however you want to say her name, she's giving everyone their fairy magic weapons. She offers to give Guts an axe, but he's like, no, I don't need that shit.
Oh yeah, we talked about it before.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, nothing could be as cool as a Dragon Slayer.
Right, it's probably one of my favorite weapons in anime. Or at least I think it looks really cool.
Well, it inspired a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm not buying any of this.
この旅自体、私は今でも乙女すべきではと思っていますが、あの笑顔があるならよしとすべきでしょうか。風の精霊、何者にも縛られずどこへでも吹いてゆく皮肉なものです。私には一番縁遠い。
Well, they did put a lot of effort into like the character models and everything. They did not really put that much effort into the freaking animations.
Yeah.
At least enough to like have them stop doing them.
Right.
It gets particularly annoying with Ishidoro, because he has just this stupidest animation.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of one of those old games where, like in some Tales of Symphonia, where the characters will reuse and recycle those like movements, even if they're not necessarily that.
True, but in terms of Tales of Symphonia, it's kind of like, well, it's not really any better, but it's worse in a different way.
Yeah.
Like here, like look at this in a second.
俺は武者修行の旅の途中。ガッツの兄ちゃんには剣を教わる契約になってんの。
あの剣士さん強いもんな。
だろう。あいつこそ怪物を食らう怪物だぜ。
憧れとるんだな。
利用してんだよ。まあ当座の目標2くらいにはしといてやるか。
Like, beside the fact that Ishidoro just lost every single any hope for having any redeemable qualities whatsoever. Like, he has two like cycles of animation, one of which is idle, the other one is talking. In Tales of Symphonia, they were kind of like underwhelming, so to say, because everyone just had 2 animations for everything.
Yeah.
But they also didn't try to like make them too expressive, so to say. They were just really, really bland, and they just most of the time fit into practically every situation by adding none spice whatsoever.
Right.
Here it's kind of like, it's like the weird middle road of they actually made a lot of animations, but they just don't work. And they're just way too restricted in 2 orders.
Yeah. But a lot of work surely went to this game, so I guess that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the dialogue matches the manga pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also honestly don't know if the story follows it exactly as it as the manga goes. I as you know, I didn't read it.
Right.
I only know the story as far as to the anime.
Mm-hmm.
And then I only rewatched the first movie, and I've seen that it was basically the same as anime, just with better fight scenes and less story.
Yeah. As far as I can tell, this is following the manga pretty closely, especially with characters talking in the way that they do in the manga. Like Shirk, for example, she's as far as I've seen, she's really chatty, and Serpico likes to internalize and do little monologues a lot.
And close his eyes.
And close his eyes, yeah.
That's important.
That's his character trait.
Mm-hmm. Eyes closed. Just like
yeah,
Brock.
That's what they say on the website. Eyes closed like Brock.
I mean, well, I mean, unlike Brock, he actually does open them a couple times.
Right.
Mostly to be scary.
Right.
I was actually just seeing if I can actually access this area, because it becomes accessible later on.
Right.
But yeah, overall, as far as like the this game presentation wise, I know that it uses like reduced horizontal resolution in order to save on VRAM, save like on visual RAM.
Right.
Because there is a particular effect that happens if you try to record it with a PVR through component connection. It's a very nasty one. The thing is, it does it really well compared to many other games that also use this in order to save up on graphics. Simply because the graphics are meant to be slightly washed out, which is kind of what happens when you have reduced horizontal resolution. The picture needs to be stretched out when it's put on your TV, and then it loses a little bit of color data. But this is meant to be bleak,
right?
So it does not suffer from having less vibrant colors. And
Exactly.
it definitely gets a lot out of the additional horsepower that a little fewer pixels give.
Yeah, I agree.
トロールです私のもとへ
こっちです急いでください
とりあえずこいつらを追っ払っちまうか。
Murder all the trolls.
うじゃうじゃ
Murder everything.
こういう時
And also disable the freaking flicker filter where you're at it. That's what happens when there's way too many enemies on the screen. You will notice that, for example, the like our health bar, if you can call that, health circle, will start violently shaking once there's way too many enemies. The game never
Right.
slows down though.
Yeah.
And also here I discovered that you can actually use like the one-hit kill attack on two enemies and like effectively kill 2 enemies with it.
Nice.
But it's kind of difficult to actually aim it
Yeah.
because he will just spring in one direction. But if he's like a millimeter off, it's not gonna work. But to be honest, it's still a pretty neat thing, and you should always take advantage of it.
Right, it's really useful.
And what's also really nice, they don't lock you in like another dimension when you're doing it, so you're still hurting other trolls when you if the attack animation that it rolls on is the kind that would hit multiple people.
あなたほど心強い味方はいませんよ
I always like those sorts of things. It's like always so annoying when it's like, oh, but the sword will just go through the other attacker because you're in the middle of doing like a finisher animation. So the other people just don't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just here, you could see that our health bar was shaking. And I did actually try getting rid of that thing with using different interlacing methods, but not every single one of them had the same problem in the exact same places. So it's everything points to the game.
Right.
Also, the blood effect is, as always, is awesome. How all of the guts stay on the ground,
Yeah.
and some of it even stains Guts' here.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, those cape motions, man.
Yeah.
The cape physics.
It looks like the cape is the main thing getting doused in blood.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's its primary function. I mean, he wouldn't want his shoes get dirty.
Yeah.
And that last scene is also what makes me believe that they're actually using like upscaled in-game models. Simply because all of the villagers just look fucking hideous. That is always scary. Every single time I go into the start menu and I'm pushing a direction, it's usually down, because that's how the game mostly arranges the camera. And the freaking Crash Bandicoot camera angle going, except you are always going back through the level and not up.
Right.
Kind of annoying.
If you're not careful, you might accidentally exit the game.
Yeah, but it's not one of. But thankfully, it's not one of those where it just goes into quit the game immediately. Go off. It will ask you, and the first option selected is gonna be no. So
Yeah.
even if you keep pressing the button, nothing's gonna happen.
Slicing up stuff's really fun in this game, I found.
Yes, exactly. I found it really surprising that the whole game is only at 30 frames as opposed to 60. But they make the sword slices look a lot more fluid by simply adding a motion blur to each and every sword strike.
Yeah.
And they do it in such a way that it's just like, it's almost like it's attached to the sword.
Yeah.
Like you create a similar, you can create a similar effect by having a 60 frames a second, 60 frames video, and downsample it to 30. And then you will get something like that. But here they just, it's just in motion. The sword has a little bit more swords. It kind of looks like that.
Right.
And here I'm demonstrating the second level thingamajig of Ishidoro. It's actually like so much more useful than his first level one. It's a crime. It's a
Yeah.
real shame that Ishidoro gets it, because if he didn't, I would just ignore his upgrade.
Yeah. Though we all know Puck is the best character.
Well, yes, his upgrades are also the most expensive ones, and also, for some reason, the only ones that carry over when you go to the New Game Plus.
Yeah.
Because I
probably-
know for
Go ahead, sorry.
I know for certain that I have upgraded all of the people, or at the very least Ishidoro to level 2 on my first run, but it didn't carry over.
Huh.
The only one that carried over was Pug, but yeah, again, his ones are the most expensive ones.
Right.
あれ使えないかな。
見張り台か。なるほどな。やってみねえ手はねえな。
And now we have to kill the tower.
I hate this tower.
I don't actually know if the bombs or the freaking arm cannon even damage it. I know that you cannot one-hit kill it because I tried. Would have been freaking hilarious if you could.
Yeah. So the tower just starts bleeding.
Yes. Yeah, thankfully they did think of that. Although, let me see actually. Does it leave the dust on the ground? Because I know that the snowmans, even though they bled with whiteness, it still behaved exactly like blood.
川を遡って G に
Right.
戻ってください。
like it would stay on the ground and
橋
stuff.
のたもとから降りられるはずです。
なるほどな。
But the dust from the tower is sadly not tower blood. But yeah, this much debris as they've shown is enough to stop all of the trolls. And here I accidentally turned on the berserker mode that I constantly forget that even exists. I am terrible with things like this. It's like I have the I win button. Why do I never use it?
I forget stuff in games sometimes too.
No, like I mean in my case it's particularly the like the one thing that you're supposed to be using all the time to make it easier on you. But
yeah.
You know, with how it varies, how often you get it from game to game, like how often you actually get to use it. Like for example, in Drakengard 3, I use it all the time because otherwise the game is just really annoying. Particularly once you're doing the later playthroughs, which if you're playing the game at all, you should do the later playthroughs too.
Yeah.
Simply because the story up until the first one just is not conclusive. Like it's kind of sort of within itself, but you don't really get much. And
right.
Unlike all of the other Drakengard games, I would say it's totally worth it to go for all 4 endings. Simply because in, say, Drakengard 1, it was worth going for all endings but the last one. Simply because it was just like one more level.
Right.
In here, it was hard to recommend anyone going through it simply because 100%ing the game meant that you had to delete your save data.
Yeah.
And also, it's just like 2 cutscenes that are different, so you can just watch it on YouTube, let's be honest.
Right.
But in case of Drakengard 3, the 4th path, the one that you unlock by 100%ing the weapons,
yeah,
is actually like 1/4 of the entire game.